Oh, hey, what's up, you guys? How's it going? It's Papa, and today I am showcasing you guys my Yummy deck profile that I have been playing for the current format, which is an older format, but is also kind of a new format because we just got a new set. We still don't have a ban list even after national season has concluded, but we are going to be starting up regionals here shortly, so I have been trying to get my foot in the water and trying to see what kind of decks I want to play at the moment. I've been testing this deck a lot for the last couple of weeks. If you have been watching my shorts, you have seen that this is the deck that I have been testing with, and I have been really liking it a lot, not just for the fact that it is a synchro heavy deck, but I also like it just because of the playstyle. I like it for what the cards do. And honestly, this deck is not as easy as it looks. Yes, these cards do look adorable, but honestly, the biggest thing about that is that looks are deceiving. And yes, this thing's adorable as hell, but it is also very difficult to play. But the other fun thing too is that you can play so many different variations of the deck. Right now I'm going to be showcasing you guys my pure list, but there is also Pirelli, there is Tri-Brigade, which is also the decks that I've been testing with the Yummy package. The only thing I don't like about it, I really think that this deck does need an extra package for it to be a very much better contender for the upcoming format, in my opinion. But the issue with that too is that if you do try to play other engines with it, I have been running into breaking issues, which has been a really big problem for the deck. But honestly, I really like Pure. I like what it does. I like how easy it can be to play depending on your hands, but also there are just a lot of niche interactions that you just need to be aware of if you are trying to play this deck. But before we get into the profile, I want to ask you guys to please like and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh content, because if you like and subscribe, it lets me know that I am doing something right. And if you haven't already, please follow me on my social medias. They are listed in the description down below. I have my TikTok, my Instagram, and of course my YouTube. So if you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe. And if you haven't followed me on my other accounts, please do that for me as well. But I don't want to get into too much of the gab. I want to go ahead and showcase you guys the deck. We are almost at 3,000 subscribers, which is very big for me because I feel like I have been in that 2,000 rut a lot. And this year I've been really trying to focus on getting my channel just more recognized, and so far it has been doing a lot better than it has the last few years I've been doing YouTube. So like I said, thank you guys again for all of that. But starting off with the main deck, we are on 3 copies of Cupsy Yummy. Now each of the Yummy monsters in the main deck have the same effect, to where if you control a Link 1 monster or a level 2 Synchro monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and you can only special summon the Yummy monsters once per turn that way. Cupsy has the additional effect that reads as follows. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Yummy card from your deck to your hand except for itself. Or if this card was special summoned by the effect of a synchro monster, you can draw a card instead. So this one is basically your main consistency point, being able to add yourself another name, being able to draw an additional card if you already have like enough in the hand, then just drawing another card just always feels great. And then following that up, we have 3 copies of Lollipo. Lollipo, if this card is normal or special summon, you can target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard and you can shuffle it back into the deck. Or if it was special summoned by the effect of a synchro monster, you can banish that card instead. So essentially being like a kind of pseudo DD Crow in a sense, or also just being like a Fiend Griefing, being able to shuffle a card back into the deck is very nice as well. And then of course going along with the others, we have the 3 copies of Cookie. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 1,000 attack. Or if it was special summoned by the effect of a synchro monster, you can destroy that monster instead. So most of the time you're going to be wanting to use the additional effect to pop one of the cards your opponent controls instead, mainly because it's just an extra form of interruption. But honestly, you get the second effects of these mainly through your opponent interacting with your board on, say, like after your turn 1 has concluded, or doing it during your opponent's turn, whatever it is. But honestly, these being not only just like searchers or like free bodies, whatever it is, they all have very great second effects, which is why I think this deck is super cool, being able to just do so much in one card, especially a Cookie. It's just really nice, and honestly this deck is so much fun. So if you haven't tried it already, I please recommend you guys to try this deck out. But that's going to do it for the main component of the Yummy effect monsters. For the Yummy spells, we're only playing 3. We play 1 of the Amusement, we play 1 of the Mignon, and then we play 1 copy of Surprise. I honestly don't really know how to say this one's name, so I don't want to butcher it, but the first field spell, what this card does is that if you synchro summon a light beast synchro monster, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. Or if a face-up monster you control leads a field by the opponent's card effect, except during the damage step, you can special summon 1 Yummy monster from your deck. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can target 2 Yummy monsters in your graveyard and or banishment, and you can place them and this card on the bottom of the deck in any order. So the reason why you only play 1 of the field spells before I get into the next one is because the Link 1 Snatchy is basically able to on summon put a field spell in your field zone. So basically, you don't really need extra copies of it. And if you're playing cards like Terraforming or if you're searching it, it just loses to draw a lot more. So you don't want any of that. You really just want to be getting your field spells off of your Link 1 instead. But what I like about the first field spell, what it does is that it's recyclability, and then it is also just an extra form of interruption. So basically, you want to make sure you have this live during your opponent's turn because it is just, again, like I said, another form of interruption. The Mignon, what this card does is that yummy monsters you control gain 500 attack for each light beast on the field. So that does stack, so basically making it to where all of your yummy cards are just big and beefy. And then each of the following effects you can only use once per turn. If you control a Link 1 monster, you can target one level 1 yummy monster in your graveyard and you can special summon it. Or if this card is in your graveyard, you can target 2 yummy monsters in your graveyard and or banishment and place this card on the bottom of the deck. So like I said, you have instant recurability. Basically, after the end of every turn, when it comes back to you, being able to recycle themselves is very strong. Being able to just put names back into the deck to where you can afford to play such a low monster lineup is very nice. And then Yummy Surprise, this is the quick play. I don't really like this card too much, but I do feel like you do have to play it in some way, shape, or form. Yummy Surprise, what this card does is that you can activate one of the following effects, but you can only use each effect of Yummy Surprise once per turn. You can target 2 light beast monsters you control and 2 cards your opponent controls and immediately return them to the hand. Pretty cool. Or the other effect is that you can special summon 1 yummy monster from your hand or graveyard, but it cannot attack directly this turn. And the last effect is that you return 1 field spell from your face-up field or graveyard to the hand, then you can place 1 yummy field spell from your hand to your face-up field. So basically, the only really cool effect of this card would be the returning the 2 cards to the hand. I don't really like it too much. I mean, it's probably getting sided out most of the time anyway, but honestly, you do kind of have to play it just as like an extra search target. But that's going to do it for the Yummy lineup in the main deck. It is very simple. It is only 12 cards, I believe, like for the Yummy package, because you have the 3 of each monster, the 3 spells. Yeah, you're only playing 12 Yummies, and everything else is just kind of engine. So I do play a Sky Striker lineup as well. It's very small. But we play 1 Hornet Drones with the 3 copies of Engage, and then probably the best starter in the deck is Obedience Schooled. So real quick, what I like about this package, Engage is essentially just going to get your Hornet Drones. Hornet Drones is going to summon out your Kagari, and then Kagari gets you back the Hornet Drones, and then since you have a Link 1 and a level 1, then you can use the Link 1 Kagari and the token to make one of your Synchro 2s, basically that one being the Yummy way to start getting your Yummy plays going. And I do like that a lot. And then, of course, if you happen to get 3 spells in the graveyard, you can draw a card. But definitely the best 1-card starter in the deck is Obedience Schooled. For those that don't know, it's been a few years since this card has been used, but what it does is that if you control no monsters, you can special summon 3 level 2 or lower beast effect monsters with different names from your deck, but their effects are negated. Very important. And then they are also destroyed during the end phase. And then for the rest of the turn after you resolve this card, you can only special summon beast monsters, which isn't too bad because your Link 1 and your Synchro monsters are all beasts, so that's basically what you're locked into for the rest of the turn. But again, like I said, it's fine because that's how you want your end board to be anyway. Because most of the time when you're making Herald of the Arclight, you can make it during your turn 1 if you don't have to use the Obedience School, but you can also make Arclight on your opponent's turn, which is also very cool. But that's going to do it for the 1-card starters of the deck. Now the rest of the deck is non-engine, which is kind of gross because I believe it's 21 cards that are non-engine. I believe it's 18 hand traps that we're playing in the main deck, which can be a turnoff. I really don't like the idea of playing 18 hand traps, but if you're trying to win, unfortunately you gotta call it somewhere. But we are playing 3 Perulia, of course, 3 Fualos. Where have you seen this before? It's in every deck profile moving forward. 3 copies of Ash. Ash is just the best hand trap. You have to play it. And then I'm opting for 3 copies of Nibiru. I really think that this card's going to be a lot more important, especially because I'm pairing it with the Imperms as well. So if your opponent happens to end on some kind of form of negation, then you just bait it out with the Imperm, and then you just nib the whole board. Nib is going to be very important in this upcoming format, I feel like, not just for Yummy, but for K9, Draco Tail, whatever it may be. I just feel like you have to play Nib in some way, shape, or form, so I'm opting to main deck it. I'm also not playing Droll in the main deck because I feel like after we do get a ban list and hopefully we get like a potential hit to Fiendsmith or we get a hit to, what's it called, to Ryziel, then basically what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot more people dropping Droll from the main deck and probably just playing it in the side deck anyway. And then the last hand trap we play 3 copies of Dominus Purge. Yes, this card is getting reprinted. Do I have any sorrow over it? No, because it is Euro print and they are absolutely beautiful, just like your mama. Tell her I miss her. And then rounding off the main deck, we just play the Trinity. We play one talent, one call by cross out because we are just trying to play the game. So that is going to do it for the non-engine lineup. But that's it for the main deck. Like I said, it's 40 cards, no more, no less. I really feel like this has been super well for me. I really want to try playing like a Widow Anchor for just like an extra engaged target, just to have as like an extra form of interruption. But like I said, I have been testing Pure, I've been testing Pearly, Tri-Brigade. I've just been trying to see what kind of build a Yummy I like the most, and right now I've just been liking Pure because it is probably the best way to learn the deck before I start mixing it with anything else. So 40 cards. And then we move on to the extra deck. We have 3 of probably one of the crazier link ones I've ever seen. We play 3 copies of Snatch Yummy. I still feel like Link 1s are a really huge problem in the game because every time we ban a Link 1, we just get an even more busted one in the format after, so they just keep loving to make Link 1s, but we had to play 3 Snatchy, especially if you're playing Pure. I feel like 3 Snatchy is a must. If this card is special summon, you can place 1 Yummy field spell from your hand or deck face up in your field zone, like I was talking about earlier, and then you cannot link summon Link 3 or higher Link monsters for the rest of this turn, and then that effect is also once per turn. And then once per chain, very important, once per chain, you can pay 100 life points and you can immediately after that effect resolves, synchro summon using monsters you control as material, including a Yummy monster. So basically what you're doing is that you are using your Yummy synchros, because your Yummy synchros, if you hadn't been able to see so far, they're all tuners. You're using your Yummy synchros to basically make the arc light. You're using them to make another form of themselves. You can use the Snatchy even as a tuner if you're making one of the level 2s. But you're basically synchro summoning during your opponent's turn, and all the cards that you're summoning are going to be extra forms of interruption. But yeah, Snatchy, you have to play 3 of it. It is actually just the best card in your extra deck. And then we play 1 Kagari. Like I said, we're playing Engage, so you have to be able to recycle it back somehow, so we just play the 1 Kagari. And it's also a Link 1, like I said, is very important to make your Synchro 2 plays. We play 1 copy of Link Spider just in case we get hit by like Nibiru. We play 1 Anima, but Anima, again, like I said, can help you get into your Yummy Synchro 2 plays. 1 Almirage, same exact reasoning. You want to make sure you have as many Link 1s because that's what's going to be getting you started. And then the only Link 2 I play is a Little Knight. I just felt like it was the most generic to use. I still play Typhon. I feel like this card could get cut in the future. There was like a few other cards that I was testing, like the Samsara Cat was also an option. You can play like the Master of Ham, I believe, is what other people are playing as well. There's a few different options, but I just opted to play the safe route and play Typhon just while I'm still learning the deck. And then we play 2 copies of Herald of the Arclight. I just feel like you have to play 2 of this card because you burn through one so fast, and then you can always make the second one during your opponent's turn. And then we play 1 copy of Martial Metal Marcher. Basically, the reason behind this, basically you can make this to go ahead and summon back out all of your Yummy Synchros because they're all tuners. And then for the first Yummy Synchro, probably my favorite one is the Cupsy Yummy. All the Yummy Synchro level 2s have the effect to where you can use a Link 1 monster you control as a level 1 tuner, which is essentially how you're making your level 2s anyway. That's basically the only way you can make your level 2s. What this one does is that you can add 2 Yummy monsters on summon from your deck to your hand, and then you discard a card, and whenever your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can return this card to the extra deck and special summon 2 Yummy monsters from your graveyard. So like I said, it's just more forms of interruption. Basically being able to summon back out your Snatchy and any other name from the graveyard to then go ahead and either summon itself back, or you can summon one of the other guys as well. Like, for example, we have Lollipo Yummy Way. What this one does is that if it is synchro summon, you can special summon 2 Yummy monsters from your graveyard, but it negates their effects, also very important. And then the last one we play the 1 Cookie Yummy Way. What this one does is actually very busted. So if this card is synchro summon, you can target up to 2 face-up monsters on the field, and you can change them to face-down defense position. And of course, this one, just like the rest of them, have the same additional effect to where if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can tag it out, put it back in the extra deck, and you can summon 2 Yummy monsters from your graveyard. So this one is definitely the best one to make during your opponent's turn. Basically, just acting as 2 extra Book of Moons is very nice, especially when we are going to be going into a K9 format where they are trying to rank up, so you are going to try and stop that as much as possible. But yeah, honestly, I really do like this deck a lot. That's going to go ahead and do it for the deck profile. I will be posting combos probably in short form as opposed to making just a full combo tutorial guide, just because I feel like it is just easier to go back and look at the 1 card combos through a short as opposed to just making a long video and just showcasing you guys like that. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments what you want to see in terms of how to play the deck. And if you want to see the other variants that I have been trying, please let me know in the comment section down below as well. But other than that, that has been it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I will catch you guys in my next video.